me, Courtney, and welcome to my channel. In today's video, we are going to be talking about the new and improved formulation of the Huda Beauty #Faux Filter Luminous Matte Foundation. About a month or two ago, I reviewed the original Faux Filter foundation, and it was not my favorite. It didn't feel the best, it didn't look the best at the end of the day, that sort of thing. So I was curious to see what she was gonna do with this one. So if you guys are interested in a wear test, a demo, I'm gonna show you guys a few looks with this foundation with a few different concealers and powders. If you're curious about all of that, then please continue to watch. Alright guys, so today I'm going to go in with my No Problem Primer. This is just the primer that I've been using lately that I've been loving the most for my skin. While that's sort of settling into the skin, I'm going to go ahead and get into it. This is what the packaging looks like. I'm sure you guys have seen it by now. This actually takes the place of the old matte foundation, if I'm not mistaken. It is $40 for 1.18 ounces. Again, it's the same amount as the old one. It comes in 39 shades, and again, I got the shade 420G, which is the same one that I got in the stick foundation. Now, as far as the actual claims, it says it is a cult favorite. This blendable full coverage formulation is fragrance free, transfer proof, waterproof, fade proof, and sweat and humidity proof, and offers up to 24 hours of wear. Of course, it is, like we mentioned, fragrance free. A lot of Huda stuff has like a really heavy rose fragrance, which a lot of people aren't a fan of. It doesn't seriously bother me, but I can see how it can be a little bit annoying. And instead of this being just like a regular full coverage drying type of matte, it is supposed to be a luminous matte finish, which to me, anytime I hear that, it's like a satin matte kind of finish. I kind of compare it to the Fenty Beauty Soft Matte Foundation. I feel like that is like the purest definition of a soft matte. Or like the Too Faced Born This Way matte foundation. That one's pretty like soft matte, not too drying type of thing, if that makes sense. This is one pump. It's just as thick as the original formula. It moves just like the original formula did as well. Spreads nicely. The one complaint, or one of the complaints that I had about the original formula, was that it was sort of a stick and move kind of situation. I get a little bit more time to blend this one out, whereas the first one just like you really had to get in there quickly. I'm gonna go ahead and go in on this side with a brush. Alright, so this is no foundation, and this is with a brush, just one even layer. You can still see a little bit of my moles, but you can definitely tell it is more full coverage. Now, I could go in with one more layer. I don't recommend going past just 2 layers with this foundation. I believe in my last review I did mention that the original formula was a little bit clingy. This one is a little bit too. It's a little bit more of a soft cling than the original formula, but it still does cling to a little bit of my hairs. Like, you can still definitely see them, and you can also see a little bit of creasing as I'm talking as well. So now I'm gonna go in on the other side with my beauty blender. So you have this side with the sponge, and then you have this side with the brush. I feel like with the brush, it sort of gives you a little bit more luminosity, a little bit more glow to the skin, whereas the sponge off top makes it more matte. But I feel like you can get a decent base either way. And as it sits, it sort of dries a little bit, so it gets a little bit matter. It feels just a little bit tighter, not to the point where I feel like it's sucking out all my pores, but it does feel just a slight amount of tightening. One of my favorite foundations that is a super full coverage foundation is like the Hourglass Vanish Liquid Foundation. That one to me gives the best full coverage matte type of situation. And then there's also the Estee Lauder Double Wear, where I feel like it's just a veil, like a light dusting of something on your face, and it still looks super full coverage. Whereas this one feels full coverage, but I would still maybe pack on one more layer if I wanted it completely, and then I feel like it would feel a little thick, feel a little heavy. You know what I mean? I am gonna use like a few Huda products. Like, I wanted to see what the Huda concealer with the powder with like the contour looks like on top of this. In the meantime, I'm gonna go ahead and finish my face, and then we'll come back and talk. Alright guys, so this is the look that we are going to be rocking today. Per usual, I'm gonna leave everything in the description box that is on my face, including a link to this eye look, like what inspired this look. So as far as the actual foundation goes, everything so far is looking pretty decent. Nothing feels like super duper tight. Like when I first put it on, I started feeling a little bit of that tightening. I don't feel it as much anymore. Now if you do notice, I have a few like scratches here and there. Like I've been sort of pushing my hair back, and it is kind of moving around on the face probably more than it should, so I did want to mention that. And it does look a little bit cakey in the nose crevices as well, which is the same problem that I had with the original foundation too. That being said, everything from a distance looks pretty good. Now I did use the Huda concealer and stuff to go with it. I kind of want to show you guys some other concealer options just because this concealer and powder combo isn't like my favorite. So I'm going to show you guys what this looks like with some different powders, some different concealers, just so you can get like a variety, you know what I mean? It is currently 11:18. I'm gonna try to get back around maybe 6:30, 7 o'clock. Yep, that's everything. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. All right guys, I am back and this is what my face is looking like. Into it, I want to just go ahead and apologize if you hear anything in the background, whether it's my kids, their iPads, my husband's, like there's a lot going on. For the record, I am like a little sniffly. I have like a slight cold coming on, so I'm going to ignore like all of this because I've been wiping my nose all day. Aside from that, I do have a little bit of oil coming through on the side of my nose. I have a little bit of oil and shine coming through on my forehead and on my chin as well. To be fair, this looks okay. Like in person it doesn't look that bad. Now I do have a little bit of creasing, and the creasing did get worse throughout the day, so there's that. I don't feel like my pores look too bad. That was one thing with the other foundation, is that you could kind of see the pores coming through on either side. This doesn't look as bad, I don't think. Everything else still stayed on. I still have my blush, I still have my contour. Aside from the oiliness, it still is okay. It's not too bad. One of the gripes that I did have about the other foundation, or the original formula, was that it felt heavy, especially at the end of the day with all my oils peeking through. And I can tell you for sure that this foundation doesn't feel like that. You guys can probably tell, but between the two, I definitely prefer this foundation so much more. The fact that there's no scent, the fact that it feels a little bit lighter. And now when I say lighter, I'm not saying that I can't feel it on my face, because I definitely can. This is a little bit more bearable to me. Like it's not as disgusting feeling as the old one was. And while I applaud Huda for sort of revamping the formula in general, because I do feel like this formula is so much better than the first one, I still feel like there's just other foundations on the market that I like better. I do like it enough to actually keep this. I am going to keep this in my repertoire. Now with that being said, I do feel like a ton of people feel like this is their holy grail, and I completely understand that. So I would say if you are curious, I would go ahead and try it out to see if it fits your skin type, if it fits what you like in your foundation. Now that being said, I did want to take some of the Huda Beauty powder and sort of re-mattify some of the oily areas. I'm not actually mad at the remattifying of it. So if you're somebody who actually does take your powders with you and touches up, I feel like this is a foundation that you can do that with. Alright guys, that about does it for me. Hopefully this video was helpful, fun, and entertaining, all that great stuff. If so, please give me a thumbs up. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, share the video if it is in your heart to do so, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.